Today we're going to be doing a walk around of a motorcycle that is a $6,000 cheaper alternative to the Harley CVO and maybe even a better bike than the CVO. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the 2023 Indian Challenger Elite. Now I talked about this same bike in the 2022 last year, but I just want to show you some of the things that they've done with the 2023 and compare and contrast this to the Harley CVO. Now I have to go back to the 2022 version of the Harley CVO because the 2023s are the 120th anniversary edition. So with their paint schemes and everything they've done to that one, it's way more than what a traditional CVO would be. Now before we get to that, let's go ahead and cover some of the big changes and upgrades that they do to the Elite model. Starting up front, you actually have the adaptive LED in the front. So that's the Pathfinder LED and the Pathfinder S driving light. So you have the 400-watt speaker system. Not only do you have them in the fairing, but you also have them in the bags as well. You have the upgraded floorboards with the special inlays from Indian. You have this sapphire blue smoke paint job, which on any Indian that I've seen so far, this is my favorite one by far. You have that almost dark navy blue type of color mixed in with the titanium, and then there's black throughout. The bike looks absolutely incredible. Now, one thing that Mrs. Headshot actually pointed out is that in their kind of pinstriping that they have, that titanium, it's actually little Indian heads all the way around that goes to the side panel, and it goes on the bags. Of course, you have the Elite badging on the bags as well. So one thing that sets this apart from the regular Challenger as well is the Pathfinder adaptive LED and the Pathfinder S driving lights. So you're going to have a ton of light up front. I'll be honest with you, man, I don't know that I would change anything about the lights on this motorcycle. Another upgrade that you have as far as lighting is the lights on the bags as well. They're low profile. They're not too big. I hate the ones underneath the saddlebags that are really large and just kind of awkward looking. They've done a really nice job with those as well. Now this one does have heated grips. And of course, you can turn your passing lamps off and on with a button right here to the left of the radio underneath your left bar. But one of the coolest features on this motorcycle is it does have the Fox adjustable shock, the rear shock, but you can do all that from the screen. Let me show you. A lot of this stuff I actually cover in the regular Challenger review as far as the specs and the 7-inch touchscreen with the ride command. But this feature right here, I really want to show you. So of course, this works with gloves and all that. And you can do some quick preload adjustments right here from the pull down screen. Or if you want to fine tune it all, you go into your settings, you go into the vehicle, and then here is where the magic is. So shock preload. So you can say, all right, solo rider or add a passenger. We can go no luggage, light luggage, or heavy luggage, and we can go with and without a trunk. Now what's cool is we can actually edit these weights as well. So let's say our rider is 200 pounds. Let's say our passenger is maybe 130. We'll go there. Let's say we have an estimated, I don't know, 50 pounds in the luggage rack. And we have another 20 or 30 pounds there. Okay. We can go to advanced. And let's say that's how you ride most of the time. You can actually calibrate that so it will be like that anytime. Right? Unless you want to go in and change it. But if that's how you ride most of the time, if you're a solo rider and you're like, this is how I ride, this is what I normally have, you can calibrate that and it will adjust that for you. It takes about 1.5 minutes to calibrate. You got to have the bike on and all that, of course. So if we have all of our parameters here and we're good to go, boom, we hit done. And then let's say we need to add something or we took something out of the bike and we still have our passenger and everything else is pretty much the same, but you want to go with light luggage, boom, it's going to fine tune that. And you can actually do a couple of fine tune adjustments here as well. Now you'd be saying, well, yeah, I mean, every bike has preload, and that's true. But not every bike has this type of setup where you can actually do it quicker. I don't know about y'all, but most of the time when I'm doing something like this, I'll set it for me and a passenger, and literally I will just keep it there almost all the time because it's just annoying to take the seat off, adjust it, whatever. This is so freaking cool. Now, another change that you have on this bike is, of course, you do have the adjustable windshield here, but it's like a curved, kind of better looking windshield in a way. It's got that dark smoke tinted look, and it just has curves right here to be a little bit more aerodynamic, and of course, keep a lot of that wind off of you when you don't want it or weather or whatever. But of course, it retains that really cool feature of being able to lay down as low as you want it in the summertime or whatever. So this bike has a 26.5 inch seat height. It's like 3/10 of an inch taller than Harley. And so you can see I'm not totally flat-footed at my height, but it's it's good enough. One thing that this has an advantage of is how light it feels in the upright position and off the kickstand. So it compensates a little bit, but of course there will be low seats to accommodate shorter riders. As far as the reach to the controls though, there's no problem with that at all. You know, brake, clutch over here on this side. So all of that stuff is fine. Now, with all of that combined, and this one has the 108 Power Plus, so it's 122 horsepower and 129 foot-pounds of torque. You can watch my Challenger review I just did. This bike is not only has the low-end torque all across the rev range, really, but also it has that power to go with it. That liquid-cooled motor is really special. Now, the CVO has a lot of cool features too. Of course, this one has the hard locking bags. So essentially, you hit a button, boom, it locks the whole bike. This one actually does have a little floodlight too, and a little horn, like a freaking car. I didn't even realize that, but I hit it. So you got the floodlight, you lock it twice, boom, it gives a little pooter. But this is a cool feature. But you don't have to go up to the $36,000 Elite to get this. And I talk about this all the time. You can go with the Dark Horse, which is like $29,000, and get this. Through Harley, you have to go up to the $42,000 CVO to get that. But as far as that goes, they're even. The Harley also has the heated and cooled seat. This one doesn't. This one does have heated hand grips. They both have the speakers in the bags. They both have the passing lamps and the upgraded adaptive LEDs. Harley does not have the windshield. They do not have the adjustable shock in the rear that you can do through the screen. Now let's talk about the Harley CVO and why I think this is a better, cheaper option than that bike. So you actually have things on this motorcycle like the 6-axis Bosch IMU, the cornering, the ABS with cornering control. You have all of those features that the CVO has, plus some, and it's $6,000 cheaper. That is incredible, dude. Now, some people will talk about the fit and finish on these bikes not being as good as Harley, and on some fronts, I kind of agree with that. Harley's been doing it so long, and they have the fit and finish so dialed in that it's just unmatched at this point. But one thing I can tell you from spending time with these motorcycles is these bikes ride way better. The suspension is way better. And also the power, the Harley is no match for this motorcycle right here. It's just way more comfortable, way better suspension, and way more power wrapped into a more modern engine as well. So when it comes down to it, man, you could save a ton of money. Now, these things are very limited. Like 150 of these is the only ones they make. So you have to literally buy it in advance, and then they build it, and then they send it out or whatever. But of course, you can talk to Rob at American Biker. I don't know how many more they're doing of these things, but what I can tell you is that this will most likely be my next motorcycle. So make sure you stay tuned, and you can see that video, which it'll be a while anyways. But the more I start to ride these, the more I realize that the Indian Challenger is the way I'm going when I go to buy another motorcycle. I'd love to hear from any Challenger Elite owners out there, man. What do you think about your motorcycle? What made you go with a Harley versus an Indian? I love this conversation because it gets everybody kind of talking and be able to compare and contrast your motorcycle. Regardless, man, if you're on two wheels, we can definitely be friends. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.